Whoa, hit the brakes. You've arrived at the #1 drive-by for American history. Welcome to The Pit Stop. Brought to you by In the Past Lane, the podcast about history and why it matters. Here's Edward T. O'Donnell, your host and historian at large.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Pit Stop, your Monday morning source for history on the go in just about 5 minutes. We offer this mini feature every Monday, in addition to our regular full feature episodes. Here's what happened in American history the week of May 21st, 2018. Let's begin with birthdays. May 22nd, 1930, that's the birthday of the famous gay rights activist Harvey Milk, who was born in Woodmere, New York. Harvey Milk exhorted his followers to, quote, burst down those closet doors once and for all and stand up and start to fight. May 23rd, 1810 is the birthday of Margaret Fuller, who was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She was a journalist, critic, and women's rights advocate in the mid-19th century. May 26th, that's the birthday of Dorothea Lange, who was born in 1895 in Hoboken, New Jersey. Dorothea Lange is perhaps the most famous photographer in American history. You all probably know her from her famous photograph, Migrant Mother, which depicts a migrant farm worker mother with her ragged children. In many ways, this was the one photograph that explained to America the suffering of the Great Depression. In fact, it's one of the most famous photographs in world history. Dorothea Lange once said, "Photography takes an instant out of time, altering life by holding it still." And she also said, "One should really use the camera as though tomorrow you'd be stricken blind." May 26th is the birthday of Miles Davis, the great jazz musician. He was born in 1926 in Alton, Illinois. "I'm always thinking about creating," he said. "My future starts when I wake up every morning." May 26, 1951, that's the birthday of the astronaut and first woman in space, Sally Ride. May 27th, well, there's a lot of people of note born on May 27th. In 1794, Cornelius Vanderbilt was born. He's the great railroad baron of the Gilded Age. In 1819, on May 27th, Julia Ward Howe was born, and she would later go on to pen the Battle Hymn of the Republic. May 27th is also the birthday of Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who was born in 1923. And May 27th is the birthday of Rachel Carson, who was born in 1907 in Springdale, Pennsylvania. She was a marine biologist, environmentalist, and writer, and her book, Silent Spring, published in 1962, is considered one of the great landmark documents of the environmentalist movement. It warned Americans of the dangers of indiscriminate use of pesticides and chemicals in modern life. What about events and anniversaries? Well, May 21st, 1804, that's when Meriwether Lewis and William Clark began their epic 3-year, 8,000-mile expedition into the West. The goal of the Corps of Discovery, as it was known, was to explore and map the newly acquired territory of the Louisiana Purchase, and to gather information on the plants, animals, and peoples of the region. It's an amazing story, and I highly recommend the book about it, Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose. May 21st, 1881, that's when Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross. Her journey down this path began during the Civil War, when she was working in the U.S. Patent Office in Washington, D.C. Seeking to contribute to the war effort, she volunteered collecting bandages for wounded soldiers. But when this work failed to satisfy her need to serve her country, she headed for the battlefields, where she worked for years as a nurse and helped organize field hospitals. 16 years after the war ended, she founded the American Red Cross, an American branch of the international organization founded in Switzerland. May 21st, 1927, Charles A. Lindbergh landed to a hero's welcome in Paris, having been the first man to fly across the Atlantic Ocean solo. 5 years later, in 1932, also on May 21st, Amelia Earhart landed in Northern Ireland to become the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. May 22nd, 1856, Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts was attacked and nearly beaten to death by Congressman Preston Brooks of South Carolina. Sumner's offense? He had delivered a fiery anti-slavery speech that denounced the South for sending pro-slavery vigilantes into the territory of Kansas to attack anti-slavery residents in an attempt to have Kansas added to the Union as a slave state. Sumner survived the attack, but he never fully recovered from the severe head injuries he suffered. May 23rd, 1934, that's when the infamous bank robber duo Bonnie and Clyde were ambushed by police and killed. Okay, time for the last word. Let's give it to Rachel Carson. She said in a 1952 speech, "Mankind has gone very far into an artificial world of his own creation. He has sought to insulate himself in his cities of steel and concrete from the realities of earth and water and the growing seed. Intoxicated with a sense of his own power, he seems to be going farther and farther into more experiments for the destruction of himself and his world. There is certainly no single remedy for this condition, and I am offering no panacea. But it seems reasonable to believe, and I do believe, that the more clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we shall have for the destruction of our race. Wonder and humility are wholesome emotions, and they do not exist side by side with a lust for destruction. Okay, people, that's your history fix for the week. Now put it in drive and go make your own history.